There was one more student in the class apart from you two. Do you remember the name of that student?
Maybe it's Arya,
Arya.
I guess. I'm not sure.
Okay, just give me 1 second. Alright, so today we'll talk about nucleus. Now, nucleus is also known as the control house of the cell. Now, when nucleus is seen under the microscope, it can be seen as a darkly stained region. Okay. It will stain darkly, and apart from that, we call it as the control house because every activity of the cell is actually controlled by the nucleus. Okay, wait, the other student is also about to join. Okay. Anyway, so now see, why do we stain any cell? Why do we do so? Because like see, not all the cells which are present, like they are not colorful, they are not easily visible. First of all, because they are so microscopic. Secondly, so to see them properly, to see their this thing, the visibility when it has to be clear and proper, we stain them. Now we stain them using dyes. Now what are those dyes that we use? So iodine solution, saffron in solution, methylene blue solution. These are the dyes that we use to stain the cells so that we can see them properly under the microscope.
Okay.
Now, nucleus is a two-layered structure. Nucleus is a double-layered structure, and of the nucleus is known as nuclear membrane, the membrane of the nucleus. Now, remember that the nuclear membrane, it contains pores. Why is it there? So that the material can be transferred or transported inside the cell and outside the cell, so that to and fro motion of the materials can happen. That is why the nuclear membrane has pores present in it. Now talking about chromosome. Now, what is chromosome? Now, inside the nucleus, chromosome is present. And chromosomes, they are rod-shaped structure that are present inside the nucleus. They contain the information of inheritance. See, chromosomes, they carry the DNA. Okay, these are the physical carriers of the DNA. Now, chromosome contain the information for inheritance. But what is inheritance? So inheritance is the passing of traits or characters or any, you can say, quality from the parent to the offspring through the process of sexual reproduction. This is known as inheritance. Okay, and this inheritance, it takes place of chromosomes because they carry the information for this inheritance process. Now talking about DNA. Everybody knows what DNA is, right? Now it is a genetic
Yes.
material, correct? It is a genetic material. Now the full form of DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid. Now chromosomes, they contain information of inheritance of any kind of character quality from the parent to the offspring in the form of DNA molecules. Just 1 second. Yeah. So see, those DNA molecules, they are present on the chromosomes. The chromosomes are present so that they can carry the DNA molecule. Okay. Now, what is actually the chromosome made up of? Now, the chromosome is made up of DNA and proteins. When DNA is there and proteins are present together, these are the components of chromosome. Okay, the chromosomes is actually made up of DNA and protein. Now, we talked about DNA. We know now that DNA is the genetic material. Now, what is the functional unit of DNA? Which part of DNA is functional and important? So, the functional unit of DNA is a gene. You might have heard about gene, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
That gene is the functional unit of DNA. Now, always remember that when the cell is not dividing, when the cell is just like that, so the DNA which is present as a part of a chromatin material, okay, it is sort of like entangled, okay?
Okay.
Yes. Now, inside the nucleus, chromatin material is there. Now, what did I say? This is there when the cell is not dividing. But when the cell starts dividing, then what will happen? This chromatin material, it starts getting organized and it gets organized into a chromosome. Now we know that chromosome is made up of DNA and proteins, but the two parts of the body of the chromosome are, like the chromosome is made up of two chromatids joined together at the center by centromere. Okay.
Okay.
Now talking about the nucleus, so the nucleus has nucleoplasm. The nucleus has a double layered structure. Also nuclear membrane is present, which is, like when the nuclear membrane is present, so we'll call that organism eukaryote. When the nuclear membrane is absent, we'll call that organism prokaryote. So eukaryotic and prokaryotic organisms are those organisms that are divided depending upon the membrane of the nucleus. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now, okay, now you people need to note down, right?
No, ma'am. It's already in the notebook.
What about the others? Is there anyone who wants to take the notes? Because, it can be helpful while you're studying. Galvin, Riaz, what about you people?
Yes, ma'am.
You want to note down?
I've already done.
Okay. Now, after that, we are going to see what are the differences between eukaryotic organisms or eukaryotic cells and prokaryotic cells. Now, talking about the differences, the prokaryotic cell is very small in size. It is 1 to 10 micrometers. The eukaryotic cells are generally larger in size, meaning 5 to 100 microns. They are larger. Now, in the case of prokaryotes, the membrane of the nucleus, which is the nuclear membrane, that is absent, whereas this nuclear membrane is present in the case of eukaryotes. Moving forward, single chromosome is present in the prokaryotic cell, whereas more than one chromosomes are present in the eukaryotic cell. And the last point is that all sorts of membrane-bound organelles are absent in the case of prokaryotes, but they are present in the case of eukaryotes. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
All right, now moving forward, let us talk about cytoplasm. Now, the part of the cell that gets the lightest stain, okay, that shows the lightest stain, that is the cytoplasm. Now, what is cytoplasm? Now, it is sort of like the fluid filled inside the plasma membrane. So, it's there in the cell, not in the nucleus, it's there in the cell. And what is it? It is a fluid filled space inside the plasma. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, moving forward, the nucleus and the cell organelles, they are present in the cytoplasm. Okay, we know that all of the things, like all of the organelles and everything, they are present there in the cytoplasm. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, moving forward, we'll talk about that the cytoplasm is most commonly known as the arena of the cellular activity. Okay, the cellular activity takes place in the cytoplasm only. Clear? All sorts of activities, because it's like um, the area where the organelles are present, right? It is the fluid area. So everything that happens will happen in the cytoplasm only. So cytoplasm is clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am. It's clear.
Okay. Now let us talk about cell organelles. Now see, cell organelles are those structures that are present inside the cell and inside the cytoplasm actually. Now, some of the most important organelles in our body or in our cell is mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, and then there is plastid, lysosome. These are the So mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, plastid, lysosome, these are the some important organelles which are there. Now, talking about that, what is the use of cell organelle? Now see, each of them have a different function to perform. They have a different product to synthesize. So their functions, they are very different because all of them are different organelles. So they are responsible for carrying out the crucial function on the cell. Okay, all the crucial important functions which are there in the cell, these are carried out with the help of these cell organelles. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubt? Now talking about, okay. Now talking about endoplasmic reticulum. Now see, endoplasmic reticulum means it is a net-like structure. Reticulum means a net-like structure. Endo means inside. Plasmic is indicating plasma. So the net-like structure which is present inside the plasma of the cell is known as endoplasmic reticulum. It is a large network of membrane-bound tubes and sheaths. Okay, it is a large network of membrane-bound tubes and sheaths. And it is long. It can be long or it can be round or oblong. It can be varieties of, you can say, shapes and sizes and structure. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, now the structure of the endoplasmic reticulum is almost similar to the structure of the plasma membrane. They have a similar structure. Now, moving forward, we'll see another thing, that what is the function of the endoplasmic. First of all, we know that there are two components of the endoplasmic reticulum, such like smooth endoplasmic reticulum, rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, now smooth and the rough endoplasmic reticulum, these are there because they have a purpose to perform, such as the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. In this case, the ribosomes are absent. That is why they are look smooth. But in the case of rough endoplasmic reticulum, the ribosomes are present. They look rough in nature. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Also, another thing you remember that wherever ribosome will be present, proteins will be synthesized. So ribosome, the function of ribosome is to the synthesis of protein. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Yes. All right. So I said that the ribosomes, they are responsible for the synthesis of protein. Now, okay, we understand that, okay, rough endoplasmic reticulum, they have ribosomes present on it. So they synthesize protein. Now, what about smooth endoplasmic reticulum? They don't have ribosomes present on them. So what do? So the function of smooth endoplasmic reticulum, first of all, it helps in the manufacturing of fat molecules or lipids. Okay, this is like the main function of the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is to manufacture fat, fat molecules or lipids. Now, what is the function of endoplasmic reticulum in general? See, the main function of endoplasmic reticulum is packaging and transportation. Packaging and transportation, it's like the main function of endoplasmic reticulum. Clear? Hmm. Now let us see, there is a term that is known as membrane biogenesis. See, membrane. We know that membrane is the outer covering. What is biogenesis? So biogenesis means formation. So membrane formation. So membrane biogenesis is the formation of cell membrane with the help of proteins and lipids. When proteins and lipids are there, they can make the cell membrane, because the cell membrane is made up of proteins and lipids. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now, after that, talking about more functions of the endoplasmic reticulum. So we have these many functions, such as, first of all, it transports the materials of the cell between the cytoplasm and the nucleus. Okay, anything that has to be transported is transported by the endoplasmic reticulum. Then it functions as the cytoplasmic framework, and it also provides the space, or you can say the surface for the biochemical or the activities that happens in our cell. Clear? Any doubts?
No.
All right. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum, it, apart from manufacturing of the lipids and everything, it also detoxifies your like the poisons and the drug. The detoxification is done with the help of the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. Now this was about the endoplasmic reticulum. Now we'll talk about the Golgi apparatus. Now Golgi apparatus was discovered or described by Camillo Golgi, so it is named after him. It is again a membrane-bound organelle, an organelle which has membrane surrounding it. Now, what is the function of Golgi apparatus? So, packaging, dispatching, okay, and all of the products that are packaged and dispatched, they are done with the help of the Golgi apparatus. Okay, and where are they dispatched? They are dispatched to the targeted site. Okay. Now, apart from that, storage, modification, packaging, like they are responsible for the formation of simple sugar from the complex sugars, and apart from that they are responsible for the formation of lysosomes. So see, so many functions of Golgi apparatus are there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So now moving on to mitochondria. Now mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Okay, now why is it known as the powerhouse of the cell? Because the synthesis of ATP takes place in the mitochondria. Now mitochondria, it again has a double membrane structure. It has two membranes surrounding it. And usually the shape of the mitochondria is rod-shaped structure. Okay, and as I said that it has double membrane structure, or two layers are there. So one will be outer, one will be inner. So two of them will be there. Okay. Now always remember that the outer layer or the outer membrane is porous, meaning it has pores present so that diffusion can take place. Whereas the inner membrane, it has many folds. Why are there folds? Because to increase the surface area. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, all the energy is provided by the mitochondria because mitochondria synthesizes the ATP molecule. And mitochondria and chloroplast, remember this thing, mitochondria and plastid, both of these have their own DNA, have their own ribosomes. And because of that, they are known as semi-autonomous organelles. Okay, semi-autonomous organelles. Is it clear? Mitochondria is clear?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Yeah, and can somebody tell me what is ATP?
Ma'am, it's the source of energy used for storage of the cell.
Yeah, see, it is the energy currency of the cell. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Oh. Okay, and the full form for ATP is adenosine triphosphate. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
All right, now moving on to the plastids. Now again, plastids, they also have a double membrane. Okay, two membranes are there, outer membrane, inner membrane. All the plants, all the algae, they would contain the plastids. Now plastids are of two types. Okay, first is chromoplast, then there is leucoplast. Now chromoplast, chromo means color. Okay, so the plastids that have like a color, so they are the colored plastids, so we call them as chromoplasts. The leucoplasts are the colorless plastids, they are white. Okay, now the chromoplast which contains the green color, they are known as the chloroplast. Which is that green pigment? That green pigment is chlorophyll. And we all know that chlorophyll is so important for the process of photosynthesis. Now, what are the pigments present in the chloroplast other than the chlorophyll? So, there is an orange pigment, there is a yellow pigment. Okay. Apart from the green pigment, which is the chlorophyll, there is the presence of orange pigment, yellow pigment. Now, let us see what are the functions. So, talking about the functions of leucoplasts. Now, leucoplasts are responsible for the storage of materials such as starch, oil, and they also store the protein granules. Okay, so apart from storing the starch and oils, they store the protein granules. Now, inside the plastid or inside the chloroplast, there is a region which is known as stroma, and many membrane layers are embedded here. And chloroplasts, they are also known as semi-autonomous, just like mitochondria. Why? Because they contain their own DNA and they contain their own ribosomes. So they can replicate on their own if they want to do so. So they are known as semi-autonomous. Now moving on to vacuoles. Now vacuoles, what they do is that storage. What is vacuole? So it is a storage sac which contains liquid, which contains solid constituent of the cell. The solid part, the liquid part of the cell is present in the vacuole. Now always remember, the vacuoles in the case of animals, it is very small or it is not present at all. But in the case of plant, there are like huge vacuoles present, and some vacuoles even take 50 to 90% volume of the cell in animals, in plants. So in animals, the vacuoles will be very less, okay, very small in size, whereas in plants it would be a lot. Clear? Also remember one more thing, that the membrane of the vacuole, it has a name, and the name of the membrane of the vacuole is tonoplast. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Do you have any doubts up till now? All right. Now let's talk about cell division. Now it is when the cell divides in order to form new cells from the old cells. Because in our body, new cells are needed every time. Now, how is that cell made? The cell, it is where it divides and forms the new cell. Now, why there will be a need of cell division in our body? See, our body, the cells of our body, they can die, sometimes they can get damaged. So, for their replacement, new cells have to be formed, right? Also, for the process of gamete formation, then also the reproduction, the cell division must be done. Clear? Now, cell division is of two types, mitosis and meiosis. Now, mitosis is equational cell division. It means that when one cell would divide, it would result in the formation of two identical cells. Two identical cells will be formed as a result of what? Mitosis. Clear?
I'm not totally clear now.
Yes?
I'm not completely clear about it.
What is not clear? Tell me.
From the cell dividing.
See, mitosis is an equational division. What does it do? It forms two identical daughter cells. Identical means they would look like each other, be same. Okay, so that is mitosis. Now, these two daughter cells that are formed, what happens is that they will have the same number of chromosomes, just like the mother cell. Okay, they have the same number of chromosomes. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now, what is the function of mitosis? So, mitosis is responsible for the growth. It helps in repairing of tissues. Okay, then comes meiosis. Now, meiosis here, Because of the meiosis, it is a reductional division. Now, the cells of the reproductive organs, they form gametes. They divide by the process of meiosis. Meiosis is the type of cell division which forms the gametes. Now, in this case, what happens? The parent cell or the mother cell would divide and make 4 daughter cells that would have half the number of chromosomes as compared to the mother cell. This is the reason why meiosis is also known as reductional division, because it has half the number of chromosomes. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, see, meiosis, it takes place in 2 steps. First is meiosis 1, then there is meiosis 2. So, 2 steps are involved for the process of meiosis. So, with this, we have completed the chapter, that is the fundamental unit of life. Now, tell me, do you people have any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Also, did you people understand everything?
Yes, ma'am.
What about the other? Alright. So since this chapter is over, let's just keep it till here only for today. Now in the next class, we'll begin with a new chapter, that is tissue. Or do you want to start right now?
I'm okay with anything, ma'am.
Okay, wait. See, you people don't have any doubts from this fundamental unit chapter? Now you people will be able to answer the questions, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Okay, so this is tissue. This is the next chapter that we are going to be discussing, right? Now tissues, tissues are the group of cells. Okay, now when many cells they come together, tissue is formed, and when many tissue they come together, organ is formed, and when many more organs they come together, then organ system is formed. Now see, here we are seeing that slowly all the things are actually present, like like grouping. So what is the purpose? See, the purpose is so that the division of labor can happen, meaning the organism can divide the way its body would work. Okay, different cells or different tissues and organs, they will be responsible for different purposes in the body. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts up till now?
No, ma'am.
Okay, very good. All right, just give me 5 minutes.